Welcome to the Beyond Fit podcast, where we help you push past your limits, tackle new challenges, and discover what you're truly capable of in endurance sports. I'm your host, Jen Coppock, and today we're diving into one of my favorite topics, picking your next big challenge for the upcoming season. So it's that time of year again, the schools have gone back, the season's winding down, and for many of us, thoughts are turning towards next year's base training, whether you're a triathlete, runner, cyclist, or just getting into endurance sports. Setting a new goal is essential to keep the momentum going. Now, I'm someone who loves to have a new goal lined up before I've even finished my current season. Why? I found that without a goal, those post-race recovery weeks can quickly turn into months. 1 week off turns into 2, and before you know it, you've completely lost your focus. But here's the thing, we're all different. Some people need complete mental and physical reset. You thrive on taking a break, it's great. But if you're like me, having a new target in sight keeps the motivation alive. So today we're going to talk about how you can set the perfect goal up for the next season, whether it's a race, a personal best or PB if you're new, or even an epic challenge that completely pushes your limits. So looking at the importance of setting a good goal, let's start with why having a good goal is so important. So as athletes, we need something to aim for. Something that gives purpose to every session. Without that North Star, training can feel quite aimless, motivation can fade. But when you've got a clear goal, whether it's a race, a distance, or performance target, it keeps you pushing through those tough sessions, even on days when, let's face it, you just don't feel like it. So for many athletes, the obvious challenge is, let's go further, let's step it up and go a longer distance. So moving from a 5K up to a 10K, or a standard distance triathlon going on to a 70.3 or even a full distance. But that's not the only way to challenge yourself. So working on speed at your current distance can be equally as satisfying, especially if you're someone that tends to finish in the middle or towards the back of the pack, with me. By focusing on pace over a shorter distance, you can make those longer races easier in the future when you're ready to smash them, because you'll be spending less time out there on the course on the day. Remember, the goal doesn't have to be about increasing speed or distance. If you've been injured or you've been struggling to get into just a consistent routine, maybe your challenge next year is to simply get started or get back to it. It's about finding what excites you and thinking about why you picked this sport, and is that still relevant? So let's talk about choosing the right challenge or event. So which one you pick, it does matter a lot, especially if it's going to take up huge chunks of your energy and focus. If it's a big race like a marathon, 70.3, or even full Ironman, you're going to be dedicating months to your training. So it needs to be something that really excites you, something that pulls you through those tough, long sessions. I've always found that having a personal connection to the event makes a massive difference. If a friend talks you into doing a race, you might not have the same motivation as when you chose a race that excites you. So it's not to say racing with friends doesn't help. Sometimes having one to train with you or a friend that you don't want to let down can be a perfect motivator. But ultimately, it really has to resonate with you, the reason for doing it. So for me, the most exciting triathlon I've done was the first one I even booked, called The Rock. It's a bit of an unusual format. You swim, you bike, you run up Snowdon, down Snowdon, and then you get back on the bike for a final 1 kilometer run along the beach. The moment I saw the race, I just thought, wow, I've got to do that. The feeling of excitement is what drove me through the training. And that was through COVID. So training lasted like years. So when you're picking your event, look for that spark. You know it when you feel it. You also want to think about where your fitness levels are and where your psychological levels are. So before you jump into signing up for any crazy challenges, just take a step back and think practically. Is the goal achievable? Of course, anything that's open to the public should be achievable with the right preparation, but sometimes life throws obstacles in our way, whether it's fitness, injuries, or simply just not having enough time to train. Personally, I've just completed my first Ironman, and I told myself I am not doing another one for 3 years. I'm not a fan of never say never. Why? Life just got in the way so much this time around. I wanted to do a really good job with it, and I didn't achieve the times I wanted, in truth, and I knew during training that I wasn't going to achieve the times I wanted. 4 kids, a business, life just got in the way. If I want to do it again, I need to get my training more consistent. In 3 years' time, my youngest will be more independent, going back into school on his own. My 2 eldest will be driving, possibly even gone and at uni. I'm going to have a lot more freedom to focus on the long training hours without feeling guilty about family duties. My degree will be finished, so yay. So when you're picking a goal, take a look at your current fitness level. Can you realistically dedicate the time needed to train? Doing a threshold test on the bike or run can give you an idea of where your fitness is now and what pace you can handle. If you don't have much time to prepare for the event, just adjust your expectations. It's better to lower the bar slightly and feel confident going into the race rather than rushing through your training and risking injury. So let's say you're ready to step up to the distance. Maybe you're eyeing that half Ironman or full Ironman or maybe a marathon or ultra. The sky's the limit, but it is important to manage your expectations. Moving up to a bigger distance in itself is an amazing challenge, but don't stress yourself out by trying to get a target time straight away off the bat. I always tell athletes, treat your first attempt at a longer distance as an opportunity to finish and enjoy the experience. Sure, having a target time is useful for structuring your training, but on race day, anything can happen. So, be kind to yourself, focus on completing the distance, and once you've done that, you can go back and aim for faster times in the future. So quite often racing abroad is a fantastic way to guarantee some sunshine and racing beautiful locations. But just bear in mind, it does have logistical challenges. So travel costs, hotels, Airbnbs, getting there with your bike, no damage, wetsuits, there's a lot to consider. Some countries even require a doctor's note confirming you're fit and ready to race. And let's face it, getting a GP appointment is harder than getting High Rocks or Oasis tickets these days. But there are incredible races overseas worth the effort. The Norseman, for example, it's on a lot of triathletes' bucket lists. There are also a lot of races like Alpe d'Huez, which I'd love to do. That is definitely one I've got on my calendar in the next few years. I just need to start working on my hill climbing again. And let's not overlook local races. Sometimes a local event can be a confidence booster. It can be just everything you need. Smaller events are often more relaxed, friendly, and you might even surprise yourself by getting in the top 10 or even a podium spot. The key thing really is it's got to excite you. It's got to make your heart sing. Whatever that challenge is, you want something you can visualize, something that you can close your eyes and see. It gives you butterflies. If you've already got a race in mind, you probably know what one it is, and you just need that little bit of reassurance to go for it. So if the challenge feels too big, so what? What's the worst? What is ultimately the worst that could happen? Okay, maybe you get injured. Maybe you panic. Maybe you don't start. Maybe you DNF on the day. These things do happen, but it's far worse than not trying at all. Sometimes if the challenge feels too big, it's worth breaking it down. For example, if you're eyeing up Ironman Nice for your first full distance, it's a tough course. It's hot, it's hilly, it's logistically challenging. Maybe try the 70.3 version first. Or if you want to do a full distance, maybe go closer to home. Ironman Wales, 10B hotels, I believe, are not the cheapest, but it eliminates a lot of the logistical issues with trying to get that full distance in. One of the most valuable lessons I learned during Ironman training was the importance of respecting the distance. So a coach once warned me about this, and it stuck with me. But here's where my mindset shifted. Yes, respect the distance, but don't let it intimidate you. I believe in growing bigger than the challenge. If you see every problem as something bigger than yourself, you're always going to be living in fear. Going beyond fear is about realizing that you can grow bigger than the race or challenge in front of you. It's a mental game. You need to believe that you can finish that marathon or Ironman before you even get to the start line. But remember that that's not an invitation to be overconfident. Prepare yourself for the day. Be realistic about how long it's going to take and mentally prepare for things to go wrong. What are you going to tell yourself if you're an hour behind where you thought you'd be? Have that conversation with yourself so you're ready on race day. At the end of the day, the challenge you choose should be exciting, personal, and something that makes you feel alive. Whether you're stepping up the distance, aiming for a faster time, or taking on a brand new race, go for it. Believe in yourself and plan well and enjoy the journey. So that's the main bit done really. So looking at your goal for next year, get something that really makes your heart sing. Think about what it is you want to do, why you want to do it. So understanding your why will really help. Quite often we start these things, we we might have a reason why. That reason why changes, or sometimes it just gets lost. Someone I know, for instance, they want to do triathlon. They hate swimming. And I sort of said, well, why don't you think about duathlon? They've been focused so long on triathlon and stressing about the swimming, they never actually considered doing a duathlon because they'd always had it set, well, I'm a triathlete, I must do triathlon, I must make my life a misery doing all this swim training. Personally, I'm probably going to be looking at a duathlon next year. I love swimming. I just really struggle to get back into the pool, and I'm waiting on my new calendar for uni, and I don't know how easy it's going to be getting back into pool sessions. And to be honest, I'm going to get more benefit as an athlete. I'm going to get more benefit going on the bike or the runs rather than the swimming, as much as I enjoy it. So I'm thinking maybe just taking a step back for a season and just doing duathlons. Maybe. I've got a few things in the pipeline, but no spoilers today. But ultimately, your why for getting started or why for choosing certain events can change over a few weeks, over a few months, possibly years. So, if you are doing the same sort of thing all the time, maybe have a think about why you're doing that. Is that reason why still valid? And also, if you have got a challenge in mind, I am redoing a lot of my Training Peaks plans at the moment, and I'm making a lot of new ones. So if you do want to plan, let me know. Let me know what you're planning on targeting, how long you have, and what your kind of goal is for it. So is it you just want to go, enjoy the day, complete it? Are you after a certain time? As I say, I'd recommend I'd recommend only changing one thing. So going further or going faster. Try and go further and faster, because it's just a lot of pressure. And, some people, you might be listening to this saying, Jen, I can handle this. Great. If you can handle it, then go ahead. But for a lot of people, it's just added stress and not worth it. But for some people, it will work. So feel free to agree or disagree, or decide whether you are that athlete that needs to just do one, or whether you're that athlete that doesn't care and you're going to do both. And then you can prove me wrong and comment in the comments below and say, Jen, I smashed it. I ignored everything you said, and I will be proud of you, and I'm pleased for you regardless of which one you do. But yeah, I am redoing my training plans, and if you want one making for yourself, just let me know. Let me know what you're targeting, how long you want the plan to last, and I can't make a promise, but I will do my best to get that done for you, and then I'll send you a link. It'll be on my Training Peaks profile. I will put it on the website as well. I'm going to have it's not on there at the minute. I'm going to have a big Training Peaks section, which will list all the plans and link to them. So it'll be a lot easier to find, because I love Training Peaks, but it's not the easiest of systems to use to locate what you're after. It doesn't give us as coaches much to help direct you to where you need to go for what which plan is going to be perfect and right for you, really. So there will be a big section on my website. It's just going to take a bit of time. Yeah, if you want a plan, let me know. I will do that for you. It will be the super duper expensive $4.95 that Training Peaks, that's the lowest Training Peaks allows me to sell them for. So when it's on there, it will be on there for that much. I won't charge extra. Obviously, if it's one-to-one that you're after and you want an ongoing plan, feedback, and have that motivation and have that encouragement, give me a shout. That takes a bit more time and effort. And, I'd want to give you the very best experience as an athlete. I'd want to be the best coach to give you that experience. So if you want me and my time, it will cost a little bit more than the $4.95. But if you just want a plan, so you can go and crack on and keep yourself motivated, give me a shout and I will be happy to do that for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Beyond Fair. If you've got any races or challenges lined up for next season, I'd love to hear about them. So drop me a message on social media. Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep pushing beyond your limits. Enjoy your day. Crack on.